All right, welcome back to my channel. Today we have Matt Broster. He's the author of the book Heal, and I'm going to let him introduce and talk about himself here for a few, and we'll take it from there. Hello, Matt.
Yeah, yo, man. Hope you good.
How you doing,
So
buddy?
yeah, man. Yeah, I'm good.
Good, good. So, can you tell me a little about how your journey all started, this spiritual healing, man? Like, take me
Yeah,
right back to
so
square one, if you could.
right, okay, um, well, I suppose it really started when I left England in 2013,
Right.
just after the very beginning of the Age of Aquarius. I don't know why, but I just had this calling to get out of England and just put a bag on my back, go to Thailand, one way ticket, no real idea what I was doing, and just ended up to where I am now. But my real spiritual awakening was on the 1st of December 2019.
Okay.
And it was just strange. The night before I started working out, in my head, I was like kind of clocking like my anxiety and stuff and
Right.
my mental health issues that I've had, that there's more to it. And I'm like, there's more to this. And it was like a really weird feeling the night before. But then in the morning, I like just like the universe just started talking to me, like
Nice.
literally like we're speaking now. And
Uh,
I was just all of a sudden I had all these insights like about my life and about, but it was more real, about the truth behind things and that there's a spiritual unseen world. And I just had loads of post-it notes basically, and I was doing meditations, and I could barely shut my eyes and focus for 2 minutes without getting an insight. And
gotcha.
I'm just got post-it notes all over the place, and it grew from there. And then soon after that, I got given the name Heal, like humanity evolving awakened love. And I'm like, I'm thinking like, I can't come out of that. That's not for me, you know.
Yeah, it seems like a
Uh,
little much, right? But
yeah,
yeah,
yeah, and it just got like that. So that's how it started.
right. Okay. Because like all of us individuals, you call us star seeds. You know, basically, what I found was what I was going through was my inner turmoil. As you mentioned in your book and different phrases on Facebook and posts about the cocoon, the formation of, spreading your wings and realizing who you are. And all you have to do is really dive deep into yourself and utilize the tools that are there. Silence the mind. Meditation is going to be key for that. And the answers start unlocking the doors to these questions that have been gnawing at us forever. And I didn't know this. I put a video expressing my concerns with depression and labels and stuff, man. And I got boxed into that shit and was medicated for 20 years, right, on lithium. And dude, that was just a drug-induced
Oh,
psychosis
listen,
right there, if you want to put it that way. We want to use labels. And once I got clean off that stuff, I started rolling into this truth, of who I really am, and reading into Eckhart Tolle and Alan Watts, and different ways of looking at life instead of reaching out to a religion or religions, trying to find truth and acceptance that way, right? That just led me down a dark fucking hole, man. And to claw back up was just agonizing. But once I met you, I knew, man, this is gonna, just kick right off. And the Great Awakening group that was recently closed, I don't know what happened to it. Much like everything else, I guess, they're just shutting shit down on us, right? But the more our voices come together, man, the fucking better this impact is going to be for all humanity, right? So I'm glad to have you on the show tonight, man, and just, to express your story to me in full detail. And as we sling along, man, I'll be asking questions about your journey and stuff, right? And likewise, we can just toss it back and forth, almost as if we're having a tea in a coffee shop or something, just chilling, right?
yeah,
So,
man.
yeah. If you want to kick back off where you were, with the book and stuff, right? If you can let people know a little more about that, right?
Yeah. yeah. So I was getting all these insights, and so what one I'll skip past it now,
Yep.
but 3 weeks after I had these insights, I think I'd already booked to go to Thailand for 3 weeks to do like Reiki, a full-on
Okay.
3 weeks, learn Reiki, psychic awareness, developing psychic awareness. So it was a accredited course, and
Nice.
um, other spiritual, what was it, the pendulum and other stuff. So I got my Reiki 2. I'd already got Reiki 1 back in Vietnam a few months before, but that was a real dark 3 weeks in Thailand. I got set up. There was a lot of dark stuff. So,
Uh,
this unseen world. Many people need to start being open to things such as dark telepathy,
yeah,
black magic,
that's right. That's
curses.
right. Yeah.
Because that's real. And I got led to that location to be in the hands of demons, fallen angels. And I know this now,
Yeah.
but it was that 3 weeks, and then that kind of set me up. So my third eye was open,
Hmm.
and I was filtering pure before I went to Thailand. Thailand set me up because if you're open, it's the same like if you do any psychedelics or anything like that.
Right. Yeah.
You're open to anything, man. And this world is dark.
Yeah, dude.
So yeah, so I kind of got set up big time, and I was just thinking, I was in Thailand. I'm thinking, what's wrong with me? My skin was yellow. I had a
Mundus.
device. It was I
Yeah.
was literally a walking dead. I went to this
Fuck.
herbal doctor, and
Yeah.
he's really well known for reversing mental health. He's had people cured of cancer. He's a really good
Okay.
herbal doctor in Thailand, and he just looked at me and he was just like, I couldn't believe it. He was just like, "How are you alive?" Um,
Shit.
and yeah, I had this device. It's a Russian device. It's obviously not in mainstream hospitals,
Yeah, but
and and it does this. I'm pretty sure I had it attached to my ears and other places, and it scans all of your body. It's like hundreds or maybe thousands of scans that go through all of my body, and it gives you a level between 1 and 6. And like the majority of me, I had ones, twos, and
yeah.
threes, which is like really, 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 really bad. You should be on 5 and 6. So the doctor said that basically my blood was absolutely toxic, and it was
Shit.
shutting all my organs down and stuff.
I
So
sent.
I won't go on about that. What's that?
I was going to say, sorry, buddy, just to interject right quick. Something like that was similar to me in my scenario too. Coming up with poor circulation, as I mentioned about caffeine earlier in our conversation before we went live here, or not live, but recording.
Mm,
I wasn't able to drink that, and the red blood cells were dying off way too quickly. And it was all the toxicity
yeah,
levels, man. Not just from the medicines that they're force feeding me day in and day out for 20 years, but the atmosphere, the stress of being diagnosed, the stigmatic mindset of others projecting that onto me. And that's heavy, heavy fucking burdens to weigh on your shoulders, right? But the food, the
yeah,
atmosphere, like this is a filter here, man, right? And you're absorbing all
yeah,
that negative shit. And like that's just bombarding you to the point where it's going to take you over. So I'm glad you brought that up, man. If you want to carry on more about that test, I'm kind of, keen and interested to hear more about that, Matt. Right?
yeah. So I mean, at the time, I was just thought, I'm just being, bad luck. I'm just going through a depressive stage and
Yeah.
all that stuff that you think, But it was when the host she just looked to me one day and she just said, she translated it in better English to her husband, and
Yeah.
yeah, and she just said, you look like literally, you look like you're dying, you're dead. My skin was yellow, and my pupils, and that was all like, the liver shutting down your
That's
kidneys.
right.
It was all these different things, and
Yeah.
so yeah, I went to the doctor, and I mean, I had to go on 3 months, couldn't touch a drop of alcohol, had to take herbal medicines every day, had to pretty much go back to my kind of more plant-based diet, and basically saved my life really for
I
three
tried that
months.
too, Matt. And sorry to say, man, but like I thought I was on top of the world when I was doing the plant-based diet, vegan, like cut out meat. Like I went around preaching to everybody. I mentioned to you on Facebook about the turmeric drink for other ones to relish in that, and that's a fine tool to kick off to get you know fungus like the candida out of your body and toxins to rid yourself. A nice detoxifying cleanser. But I went to that extreme with veganism and shit. And what I found, bud, was after maybe 5 to 6 months of that, my red blood cells were killing off even quicker or dying off faster. It went from
Mm.
120 days, which is supposed to be the average for a red blood cell, to 90. So I was like really gasping for air steadily, like fuck, just totally lethargic. But I know too is also the body detoxifying. I mean, I had night sweats steadily 5, 6 times a week, or I just soaked the fucking bed. Wife's like, "Did you piss yourself?" I'm like, "No, man. This is my body ridding itself of all these toxins from the buildup, right?" But
Mm.
once I incorporated eating meat again and putting that into my regular routine, I started having strength. You could see it, muscle mass coming back on. Because I looked like a walking cancer stick, man. I had buddies saying, "Matt, you fucking dying? Like, you look sick, buddy." I'm like, "No, I feel
Mm.
great." I'm like, "No, you're too fucking skinny, man. Like, you look like death." I'm like, "Wow," right? So I can resonate with that and concur, man, that when you go through a lot in your life, it just doesn't strip you, of your mental powers, man, but your physique. It's all, I think too, Matt, too, a lot has to do with suppression, emotional instability from growing up in a weird childhood, maybe, things you've taken on in the course of your life. And Gabor Mate speaks a lot of that, right? You suppress things that it gets lodged into your muscles, and your organs and shit, and eventually it starts bubbling up and comes to the surface, right? So, sorry, man. I know
Mm.
that was a long interjection, but I get off on these fucking rambles and rants and gotta, throw it out there and just puke it, right? Like
No,
it's,
that's all right. No,
yeah,
it's
buddy.
good. It's good to interject because man, when I go, I just can't. There's no.
Same.
Well, you heard that interview, yeah? Like,
Yeah, but
I
went for an
can't
hour.
stop.
I wonder too if Buddy was just, I don't know, like I said, man, he didn't seem like he was on point with it, man. Like, probably because he didn't have an understanding of it, you know what I mean? You need to have experience of something to
Yeah,
elaborate in conversation and to kick off with those steady fucking points to make in conversation, not conversation, but questioning, right? I don't know, it's kind of flat. That's what I mentioned. I was like loving your material and listening to him. I was
yeah,
like, he must just be muted, right, and carry on. I don't like to bash on him, but it was kind of weak on his part. Yeah,
yeah, yeah, yeah, yeah. A couple of people said the same thing.
yeah. But that's okay, man.
Yeah,
You got your
we
voice out
probably
there,
couldn't get
dude.
away with it anyway.
You know? Well, yeah, yeah,
Yeah, that's it.
yeah.
I'm just like, it comes out.
Shit. All right, buddy. You go on, man. Sorry, dude. This is
Yeah,
how it's gonna
no,
be
that's
anyway
it.
with us conversating. I can see it. It's cool. It's cool.
Yeah, no, that's cool. That's cool. Yeah, so basically, I didn't know what was going on. I mean, and then, I mean, I stopped my 3 week, I got my Reiki certification. I got what I needed. I got the psychic awareness, which really, really like, the developing psychic awareness. So I could astral travel and to different places, and I'm just like,
Nice.
whoa, man, that's pretty cool. So I
It
tapped into
is.
that. So I got stuff out of it, and then I went to Laos, and I was surrounded by like mountains and waterfalls and everything, and I was on the scooter. Everything I love about life, but
Yeah.
I absolutely hated myself, like
Yeah.
beyond anything.
I know.
And it was all
Total loathing.
to do with that. That it was all to do with that. So what it was it was a spiritual blood curse that was
Yeah.
put on me,
That's
a
right.
very, very, very powerful one. I don't know if you've heard about the energetic vice that these like archons, the real darkest of the dark, they
Yeah.
suck our energy and they put it into a vice.
Yeah.
Well, they basically chucked the whole lot of me, man. They chucked the whole kitchen sink at me, and I know now because now
I love that
I've
phrase.
now I know because I'm told about it,
Yeah.
and
That's right.
I'm just like, whoa, man, like, but yeah, that's what it was, and
Yeah.
it was that bad that it physically made my blood toxic,
Fuck.
like to
That's
speak. So
crazy, man.
I had to do, yeah, I had to go to Bali. I had to do Cambo just
Cambo.
to like, yeah. So
Ah.
the Amazonian frog, it's the green one, and
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
they
Yep.
take the venom off, and
No way.
you have it burnt into your skin.
Nice.
I've got these dots here. Yeah,
Yeah.
that was so I don't know if you can see it, but
No,
there's
well,
like
there's a bit of a
what,
glare there, but
8 or
that's
something.
okay. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, but yeah. So it's what the tribes in Amazon used to take before hunting, and it just makes them aware. Their eyesight improves. It's just really good
Really?
for your fatigue and everything.
Shit, man.
But it's
Okay.
pretty hard to do.
Yep.
But yeah, I know that saved my life, without a doubt. There's so many things I realise it saved my life, and we don't realise until this third eye just showed,
Opens up. Yeah.
the whole universe comes through. But yeah, I think my main point there was there's like we know there's a spiritual underworld that people need to start being aware of, because the deception is unbelievable. It's
Yeah.
so subtle. It could make you believe that you're anyone.
I
It's
know.
and you think about all these people that get psychosis and schizophrenia. It's a
Yeah.
spiritual war inside your head, you know.
Yep. Yeah, no, and then people want to take face value and just roll that. And, I'm getting exhausted though trying to spread the word about this scamdemic, man, right? We can hit that pretty hard too, I'm sure of it. And, I want to be really strong and sturdy for the rest of us. But yet I find myself, okay, well, I got to mask up because if I don't, someone's going to cry about it. But I'm like, okay, why don't I
Yeah.
just take the mask in hand and approach a store or wherever it may be and not put the fucking thing on until I'm told to. Or I won't have, I'll be rejected and I won't have service or I can't buy my goods, because that's making us fucking
Mm.
diddly fucking sick. And people aren't taking this serious. They're breathing their own bacterial infestation, and they're not getting that exchange with the CO2 and the oxygen. And people are like, well, I don't know why I'm getting headaches
Exactly.
and respiratory problems. Like, well, you got a mask strapped to your face all day, and I'm sure you're not cleaning it anyways, right? But
Yeah.
it just boggles my mind that they're throwing out microdoses of this information in movie forms, comic books, video games, and people aren't waking the fuck up.
Oh man.
They're just like, well, that's not reality. That's not my world. I'm just playing it, and that's okay. But I don't know. There's that
Yeah.
movie, V for Vendetta, right? They spoke about this, man, coming in 2020 and the big surge changeover
Really.
of the awakened people going, we've had enough of this. And then the whole mass just wakes the fuck up and ends this shit, right? So I hope that's what's going to happen, man, on the 21st.
Oh, it's happening
I'm
now.
waiting, you
It's
know?
happening now.
Yeah, what are we
We're
in
just
days?
gonna crack. We're just gonna
Oh, yeah,
crack.
exactly, man, right? It's almost like what they said. I don't know if you're familiar with the guy, Blackwell. He had a diagnosing of bipolar, I think 20 odd years ago. And he basically said that was a crack of the ego. He endured a lot and he went manic, another diagnosing label, it's mainstream bullshit. And he's got retreats all over the world now, to help individuals. And saying, it's awesome. Like, you don't have to take that up the ass and down the throat and accept it for what it is, man. That's just another way to beat you down and suppress you. Like they have with black people, the natives. I mean, like, this has been ongoing
Mm,
forever. They want us to be divided, isolated, to think in our own simple thoughts, but the thoughts that are being projected from the social media and just, the platforms they use and utilize to crush us, right? So we gotta
yeah,
rise up and be strong,
subliminal.
man, Yeah.
Yeah, man. I mean, an example of this, when you like, so, I mean, I'll definitely go into my book about all the massacres around the world that everyone seems to turn a blind eye to, and we've got all these, like Thanksgiving, and we've got Australia Day, and we've got all these celebratory days where we're feasting when that happened. But one thing I didn't realise, and when I'm in my book, I'm like, I'm just going into the zone. I don't know what I'm writing. I just flow, and
Automatically,
I'm
right?
just
Yeah.
like,
Yep.
just being taught. And then someone was saying Tibet, Tibet, Tibet. Look at Tibet, and I was like, okay. So I just had a look, and then I articulated this piece
Okay.
that, yeah, about these fallen angels had gone into a Chinese leader, and he was responsible for like 1.5, I think, billion deaths or something, or million. I can't remember. It was a lot.
Right. Yep.
But then, because Tibet was a spiritual vortex of our world, and that now it's Peru.
Okay.
And so what I'm saying is how psychopathically cruel these people are is, well, China and England both tried to invade Tibet, and Tibet, I mean, they're monks, man. They're like peaceful monks that meditate. They do not harm anyone. Yet China like went in and massacred absolutely the living shit out of them. And then
That's the way
what
you
what,
word
what yeah. And
it.
then
Don't mind me too. I'm fucking tired. And
yeah,
I don't want to see this
I know.
podcast.
Well, I wasn't gonna
Yeah.
swear, and then I heard you, and I'm like, well, can't just leave you out and just have you swearing on your own,
Yeah, that's right, buddy.
Yeah.
It's a
And
free for all.
yeah, that's it. That's it. And I was just trying not to use some of the words that I use, yeah, often,
Yeah, I
the
know.
bad ones.
We've
And
had quite bad.
and just one thing that just made me realise, how sick this world is. I mean, not only what they do to dogs and animals in China, and China, man, China has got a lot of answering to do, man. Man, proper bad. But yeah, they got all the families of communities and publicly tortured them to death and made them kill each other. Now, what on this planet is possibly worse than that, really?
I know.
Publicly having so many people watch you kill your own family and whole communities. It's like China coming into New York City, rounding them up,
Yeah.
and then having the whole of China watch and cheer.
It's pretty sickening,
Like,
man.
and that's the psychological. That's the psychological. Well, it's just psychopath. It's
It
a
is.
psychopathic killing method. Yet so many people know it, but they don't do nothing about it.
They
And
turn a
like,
blind eye
unless it
to
happens
it,
to
right?
them.
Exactly. If it's not
Yeah,
happening on my doorstep, I'll just turn a blind eye
yeah,
and cheek to it, man, right? And that's the wrong
yeah.
approach.
And
That's the problem, man.
got to stop.
And not to mention the programming since we were born. This has been ongoing from generation to generation from our
And
ancestors
before.
up. Yeah,
Yeah,
and it's a bit of a fucking nightmare. And when you try to speak this truth, I'll do the same, dude. I spit it no matter where I'm at. I'll strike up random conversations with people, you know, in outings. And if they take to it and grab hold, great. Let's make fireworks out of it. If not, I'll just kind of like wean it off and go, okay, let's talk about the bullshit weather. I like talking deep on things, man, with complete
oh
strangers, you
man,
know?
yeah,
I don't want to talk about the weather and the
the
fucking
weather.
football, and the scores. Like, it's irrelevant, man, you know? Like, fuck. You want to go to
So
the gym?
programmed though, isn't it?
Well, it is. It's. I hear people all the time making small chat just to avoid an uncomfortable situation because nobody really likes their own fucking company. Well, unless you practice.
That's the problem.
Well, that's it. Nobody wants to be silent in their own fucking mind, listening to their own thoughts. They'd rather be connected to a
What does that
device.
say?
Well, that's it, man. And this is what they want you to do, man. Be scared of your own image. Like, I've had people I wanted to bring onto my podcast, and they're like, oh, I don't know about that. And it's shout out, you guys are cool, but at the same time, holding your mouth and your tongue like that is going to keep you and the rest of us in a dark hole, man, right? And covered.
Yeah,
You got to pull that veiling away from you and open up, man, and speak your truth, man, right? There's no shame in it. I've seen some really horrible videos. I'm sure, ours is going to be marked as something, but at the same time, man, we're doing what we need to do, and that's the key factor here, man. Just get the content out, express your concerns about, the worldly affairs and things that are happening and things that we can do to prevent this, and make a difference. So that's
yeah,
my aim here, and I'm sure Matt, you can vouch on that too, right, buddy?
yeah, man.
Yeah, bud.
Just let it go. Like, I mean, I've cracked now. I've gone through I released a book in June the 3rd or 5th, and I was just taken by that, since that curse and everything. Yeah, so like, I had all loads of friends stop messaging me talking about my mental health. I should have been sectioned for what I wrote, to be honest. So Heal is a rewrite of an
That's right.
absolutely mad book.
Well, yeah, right.
I was writing loads of stuff, man. I was like, I'm God and I'm this, and then I let it out to all my family.
Yeah,
And an example of anxiety is, I mean, I'm trying to say, like, imagine doing that, going that insane,
yeah.
yet you bounce back, and I mean, and the people that you're bouncing back to and your family, they've never even gone or experienced anything.
No,
But then imagine the anxiety to put a mad, crazy book out there that you should be sectioned for,
yeah.
and then take that like a
Grab hold.
like a lion, man,
That's
like
right.
a warrior. You take it so hard, and you know that you've got loads of friends on your thing. You've sent your book to loads of people,
Yeah,
and they're thinking cuckoo. But then you bounce back, and like, people don't realize that's the pits of the pits. That
yeah,
really is. That's anxiety. But
yep,
bouncing back from that and then coming out and then still being ignored.
I
I'm
know,
like,
man.
yeah,
I
that's why
know, right? Well, that's it, man. I was told by my family doctor before he resigned. He says, Matt, he says, in 2 years, guaranteed, you're going to be back on your lithium. You might even be re-hospitalized.
wow,
I'm like, yeah, okay, doc. And I looked at him, bull-faced, man. And that's when I started gaining strength. You know, the truth was coming up. And I was practicing meditation, yoga, and just loving nature, walking in nature all the time. I forgot about the world and honed into myself. People say you shouldn't be a loner, you shouldn't do this. It's got to be lonely doing this travel, but it's
yeah.
not. You're rediscovering who the fuck you really are, man. And then you can shine bright for other
That's it,
people who are
man.
too scared to do it, right? And we're
We're
going on
warriors,
3 years. Yeah, exactly. Thanks, man. 3 years now without medicine. Don't need it. I've never had to go to a doctor, man,
we?
since mine resigned. Like I was going to emerge 3 to 5 times a week, traveling from one town to another, spending gas money I didn't have. I couldn't work for the duration that I was laid up. And now I'm like, well, I got my diet in check. I know where my spirituality lies. I know who I am, and I know my truth, and I'm speaking that in volume. So I don't need another man, a mediator, a dictator to tell me how to run the course of my life and get in suit with the rest of this world. The world's mad. The world's fucking insane, man.
Yeah.
We're the ones waking up and going, wait a minute, these connecting dots aren't connecting at all. It's not making any bloody
Yeah.
sense, right?
Being
So,
told by an apparent professional or expert about your problems when they haven't even experienced it
I
is a load
love
of crap. It's a load of
exactly.
bullshit to me.
And Gabriel Mate said it on Russell Brand's podcast here the other week. Well, actually, it was a year ago, but I just watched it. And he said, you know what? These doctors are labeling everybody, man. He goes, that's the biggest problem. They're suppressing their own traumas. They don't even know their own selves and their own problems, but yet they're casting it on to other ones. So you ask me, buddy.
Yeah,
It's like somebody
and
put
in
finger.
5 minutes,
Well, yeah, right.
yeah,
Oh, yeah, I'll checkbox this, man. You fit the description of this
yeah,
label, so yeah, that's what you are. Okay, doc, let me
yeah,
wear that fucking coat and tell you, this is what you have and see how it resonates with you,
yeah.
right? It's cruel,
That's
man.
it. Tick a box.
Well,
Tick
yeah,
a box, and then give you what, a slow death sentence in 5 minutes.
exactly, yeah, exactly, bud, right? You know, and
Pretty much, in it, because it just
oh,
depresses you and makes you, you can't be at yourself, our true emotions, and then we all fall for it.
exactly, right? You know, but I went through some ordeals even coming out of this, and when your brain has to rewire itself from that programming and those loads of you know dopamine being dropped in and serotonin, you don't need that stuff. Your mind and body is capable
Yeah,
on such a level that we're not even aware of. We can't even fathom the magic behind it. When you cut yourself, I'm not saying you literally do, but if you hurt yourself, that heals. And you're like, well, how did that happen? You don't have a thought to understand how that happened, right? It's dude, it's just so ridiculous
yeah.
to start poking and prodding people with needles and pills and thinking that's going to be the bee's knees to cure everything, right? Crazy, man. Yeah.
Yeah, it is terrible. It's shameful. I remember when I was in Africa, and I put this in my book as well. I just said I was speaking to this tribal guy, and it links up to another story. It pops up. Somebody else had a similar experience, but and he's just like, hey, you Western people, you're crazy. You get mental, and then you go into a room 5 minutes and you take pill. It's crazy. Like we and he was like, what you need to do, because it's demon, it's you dance it off and the demon go and all this stuff, and I'm like, he's got a good point. And then I've worked with indigenous people, and I've
Yeah,
seen
yeah,
the demon leave the body, and
yeah.
I'm like, hang on a minute, Africa and indigenous, they're like, what, the two oldest living cultures on earth, and they know, man.
There you go, man.
So what
Yeah,
does it say? And then
exactly.
we're all going to the doctors, and then yeah, man, like, yeah, I mean, I weaned myself off that stuff in a 11-day Vipassana, and that was hardcore,
11
man.
days.
Like,
Ooh, shit.
yeah, and that was when I was on medication. I think I was on antipsychotics for bipolar. I was on the highest dose of I can't remember what it was. It was for generalized anxiety and depression and stuff. And I was just like, I'm going to do this Vipassana, and I'm not going to listen to no doctor. I'm going to
Ooh,
wean myself off
yeah.
whilst doing 11 days silent meditation, and
See,
I'm, and then I done Everest Base Camp the day after. It was mad. So yeah,
yeah.
but that was vital, man. Coming off of that shit, and
Same.
it's painful coming off, you know,
It
because
was.
you're unwiring that,
Yeah.
you're unwiring all of that crap that you
Yep.
put in your body.
Well, I really had to ramp things up too because I was sitting at 1,350 milligrams of lithium. Um, Abilify, that's a dirty antipsychotic. And I had a family doc, sorry, emerge doc who said, Matt, you need to come off this. You have something called, oh shit, what the hell is it, man? It's for the kidneys, nephrogenic diabetes insipidus, which means your kidneys are shutting down, and it's the aftermath effects of the poison, of the toxins from the meds all those years. And
Man,
he's like, if you don't get off this, you're gonna die. I'm like, I'm already tapering, man. I was doing 10% per month, and I had, like another 4 or 5 months to go. He's like, no, you gotta ramp it up, man. I was like, holy shit. And I'll tell you, Matty boy, when I was coming off that, man, I had vivid dreams. Uh, Insightful ways of looking at things, and people thought, okay, this guy's got to go off his rocker, and I kept it stable, man. I lost my brother here 5 years ago, and then I think it was a year after. Oh no, I'm lying. 2 years after, that's when I started tapering off the meds. So I went through a lot of shit, and it was almost like an overall cleansing of my whole being, my essence of being, and it was pretty powerful. And I'm a landscaper right now, but I feel like that's a stepping stone, to pay the bills and make things happen in this materialistic infrastructure of shit. But really, what I want to do is heal other people, help them heal, get them on their journeys, and guide them. Because that's what it's about. We're not here to serve ourselves. We're here to serve, humanity. We're a collective consciousness, one. You know, and I've been doing things wrong, man. I'm 40 years old and just getting the picture clear now. It's like, wow, what presenting 20 years worth of damage and having a clogged mindset in a state of mind like that. I mean, how can you not, right?
mm,
But we kind of got sidetracked there, didn't we, from the original
yeah.
conversation? Like,
No,
we're,
that's all right.
yeah, it's all
It's
good
all in the
though.
same thing, though, isn't it?
Yeah, man, I just like free flowing, anyways. I don't ever script anything, just, you know.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, that's it. But it is, yeah, it's just bad how we've got to this, and just so many people. What I find really, I don't know, contradictory is all these people that put these posts out there. Oh, mental health this, mental health that. They're doing press ups, they're doing all this crap. But
yeah,
when it really goes to town, when someone loses their mind and they proper lose it, and then you're not responding to their messages, that's like pulling a trigger, man. You
yeah, it
know,
is.
like
It is.
yet they're putting these videos out there, and they'll burn their finger, and they'll be like, oh, I've got a headache, I've got a hangover, and you're like, well, hang on a minute. So you've got the time to do that, but you haven't got the time to respond to someone that's actually
Yeah,
literally just about to. And how many people's last thoughts are that of that person that ignored them?
I know,
Their
man.
final moments,
And we're supposed to be
and
living in a. Sorry, go ahead, Matt.
yeah.
Yeah,
No, I just think, I mean, that's just bad, isn't it?
well, that's it, man. We're supposed to be living in the most connected environment now. We got Zoom, we got Google Meet, we got all these other platforms we can utilize, but yet we're still, what it's done? It secluded us to be alone. As I mentioned to my son, who likes to game a lot, and I said, what about the old days when you sat next to your buddy on a couch, you could poke him with your elbow and say, ah, you fucking loser, you lost this time, let's have another round. Now you can't do that. You got a mic set. You don't even know these people. There's no real personal, authentic way of being with people anymore, man. And
Yeah,
that's exactly what they want. It's Wizard of Oz. We don't know what's going on. Well, we do behind the curtains, but the majority of people are okay being the puppets and allowing the puppeteers to, you know, do what they do, right? Sickening,
yeah,
man.
puppet master.
Yeah.
They're so sick, man. I mean, yeah, just controlled by demons and like, yeah, all this stuff. And because we can't see it, we're like, oh, nah, it doesn't exist. We're like, well, we've been weakened to only see 2 to 3% of our reality anyway. All the
Exactly.
mandatory injections you had when you were younger, they're putting parasites in your eyes and brains, man, to like weaken you.
Yep.
So, but
And
no
even
one,
food, right? You
yeah,
know?
oh man, yeah, so bad, isn't it?
Yeah, it's pathetic, man. And I'll tell you, Matt, I'm so in tune with myself and so connected with Cosmos right now that when I eat a morsel of food that I know isn't gonna be good for me, I send that down in a vessel. It doesn't matter if it's with other stuff that's gonna help, man. Instantaneously, I can feel that within minutes, and I'm like, oh, fuck. I feel lethargic. I feel sick, you know. But yet I crave some of that. I mean, that's just old ways dying off. You know what I mean? Old habits and stuff.
Yeah,
But I do
it's
highly
that
recommend.
disconnection. It's hard. Isn't
Well, that's it, man. I highly recommend, a cleansing for people, as you mentioned on Facebook about the prune cleansing. How's that working for you? Is it doing well?
it? It's man, it's brilliant.
Yeah.
I mean, I've done. I mean, I've been led to do like colon hydrotherapy and all that sort of stuff, and it
Nice.
really does cleanse me. You know, I need it. The
Yeah.
prune juice is so natural, but
Exactly.
like literally, if you're gonna do it, I'd literally get a pillow in the toilet. I'd get your phone there. I'd get everything in the toilet and just do whatever you need
Camp
to do.
out
Read
there,
a book
right?
for 4 hours.
Yeah, bud. That's
Yeah.
awesome. Well, I said the same with that turmeric drink, man. Like the first going off. I don't really want to get into details because I don't think the listeners and viewers want to hear that. But it was pretty disgusting. But just to feel cleansed and knowing that my body was ridding itself, man, was
Mm.
so glorified, dude. You know, I did that for I think 4 or 5 days, and then I could feel, the immense difference in my way of being, the way I conducted myself, my physical stamina. It was like, holy fuck, I went from flatline to Superman. And I was able to go back to boxing when I did box, like I enjoy the cardio, the weight training, go back to work. But I noticed too, and this is just natural, the more you gravitate to a spiritual truth or honesty of what your real service is here, all that stuff starts to fade in the background. Those hobbies and those likes and interests you once have. It's just like, good luck trying to find anything on Netflix or cable or YouTube, or you know what I mean. It's very difficult to find material that's going to resonate for me as an individual these days. That's why I read a lot, man. Like Eckhart Tolle and Gabor Mate and other ones like that. Something that's going to uplift your spirits and give you a little more meaning, right? And we're
Mm.
plagued with negativity all day, and I don't know about you, but when you scroll through Facebook, man, it's just drama, drama, drama. Irrelevant stuff that just doesn't hold a candle to anything.
That's it, and it's so contradictory as well.
It
You know,
is.
that it's completely contradictory. And the thing is, these dark ones, they're just laughing at it, man. It's like the CIA invented conspiracy just to sit back
Yeah.
and laugh while you circulate it. It's like they're laughing in your face, man, and all you can do is just moan about bullshit.
Yep.
When people are dying, I mean, the biggest pandemics is mental health, suicide, and suppressed emotion. Simple as that. Yet we believe this pandemic to be real when they're flaunting movies in our faces about it. You know, it's
Well,
like,
that's it, man.
what are we doing, man? Like, seriously, like. There's Contagion, there's V for Vendetta, there's so many movies. The movies are all like they're just laughing,
Oh,
and then they make money out of it. And like the movie Saw, it's a torturing
Uh,
film. It's disgusting,
yeah.
and it was one of the biggest bestsellers. And it's like, are we really psychopaths?
Well,
Because we're
that's it.
being programmed to be.
Yeah, exactly. And there was 97.1 CKBW. It's not CKBW. 97.1 at CBC, I guess, here in Canada and Scotia. And I used to listen to that last winter. And they always had, uh, the host would have guests come on and speak their truths. And it was awesome, dude. I'd go for my drives to the beach with my dog and stuff, man. And I'd always tune in and listen to people, the stories that they've had to go through, the grieving process, and just coming to grits with who they are. And that was gone. And all you ever hear now is COVID, 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 COVID. It's like, fuck,
Yeah,
man. I don't want to hear
yeah,
that,
boy.
you know? Ah, but,
And the thing
yeah,
is, they've been planning this for they've been planning this for I've channeled that it's many, many, many decades, probably hundreds of years. They've known that the Great Awakening is going to be happening in 2020, and they've known
yeah,
this for like gone well beyond 12,000 years, like 26,000 years or something.
yeah, exactly. And that's what I've been saying too. Like, I think deep inside, well, we all know, deep inside, it's just a sec here, man. We all knew this, but we've forgotten over the years through our programming and the constant feedback that we get from the wrong sources, right? That start to dwell in your head, and it's a fucking delusional world we're living in right now. And you speak to people, man. What do they say? 90%, or is it 95% sleeping, 5% awake? Like that's exhausting for the 5% of us trying to wake the
Yeah,
other ones up. But I'm up
yeah.
for
And how long
that.
we've been doing it? I mean, yeah, I've only been doing it since really my awakening. Well, especially but for a year I've been really seeing things. But some of these people have been literally trying to wake the masses up for decades, man. I
20
mean, it
years
must
here,
be
bud.
brutal. Yeah. And
Yep.
some of these have been around in the 70s, in the hippie days. They were probably living the time. This is what we should be doing now.
Yeah, no, I think of that too. Like you think about, well, you spoke highly of John Lennon, and I can concur with that, man. That guy had it down pat. He said something about the way he spoke, living in an insane world. If he was to talk the way he was talking on the regular, he'd be locked away for it, right? You know, and
Yeah.
that's the
And that's what we're living in now.
oh we are right, and people aren't aware of it. They chump it up, chalk it up, and say, you know what, this is just life. You got to roll with it, man. And I've been a bucking son of a bitch right from the get go. 20 odd years ago, I'm like, no, man, this doesn't make sense. I'm not doing it because I'm told to. And I never knew why way back then, but I just knew that I wasn't one of those suited characters that had to get in line and do as they're told. Like the black sheep, man, right? I wanted to break off from the branch of the tree, the family tree, and be somebody different. I hear it all the time, dude. Fuck, I still hear it. Oh, Matt, he's different. He's funny character or whatever the fuck, man. I'm like, if you people only knew, man, I'm trying to help you, and all you're doing is slinging ignorance to me, right? You probably got it over the years too, and probably still do today. Uh, I used to just say, I'm a different breed, right? Like, yeah, Matt, you sure are, but
Yeah.
it's a sin though, because what you do is internalize that before you knew what was coming about, and you would think negative thoughts about yourself, man. We all do that anyways. A lot of people don't want to be honest about it, man, but we do. We walk around.
Yeah.
They've done studies with this, man. Who do you think you talk to mostly on the course of a day?
Yeah. That's it. It's true.
Right? It's
Yourself,
yourself, man.
man.
We
Yeah.
talk to ourselves all day, and if you can't promote good content within your mind, you're pushing yourself down with the rest of the ones surrounding you, man, that are doing the same, right?
Yeah.
So,
And like our thoughts are mad. I mean, there's thoughts, and I'm happy to share my thoughts, man.
same, buddy.
If we were all to be open and honest about our thoughts and where they come from, because our thoughts are not our own. It's an energy. We're energy, vibration, frequencies, and all that.
That's right.
Um, I mean, some of these thoughts. I mean, are we supposed to be on a plane and then like flying in the air, and you have a weird thought? You're like, imagine if that window opened and sucked me out. All these weird thoughts.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, you know
can we
what?
do it?
We do. And the bottom line to that is you allow them to come and go, right? Because you're not your mind, you're not your body, you're not your thoughts. You know?
Exactly.
There's
Yeah.
so much more to us than that. And people don't get that. So, I have a lot of people saying, oh, I don't know how to silence my mind and meditate. You don't have to do anything but sit there. If your mind wanders, gently bring it back to your breath. Breath work, man, is the key
Yeah.
factor to the essence of, opening up like that. But what it really comes down to is people just don't want to take the time to, approach it that way. They're too caught up in this mainstream, man. And I think that's why
Yeah.
I'm constantly tired. Trying, but man, it's tough, right? You know?
Mm,
Yeah.
yeah. And we don't. I mean, sometimes we think, there's so many negative thoughts that come in. I mean, yeah, there's been days where every minute of the day, even if I'm playing soccer, football, soccer,
Yep.
and I love it. And I was playing in Jakarta every day. I was like five-a-side, playing high stat, like pretty decent level competition. Flew to Vietnam and
Nice.
played there. And the whole time, I'm just like, I don't want to be here. I don't want to be here. I don't want to be here. And
Yeah.
then if people realise that that's not natural, like, do you really think we were born to have depression, to have anxiety,
No.
to have bipolar and all this crap that's labelled at us when it's a spiritual war? And
So,
we need to realise that it's not natural. Do you think our Mother Earth, and everything about humanity is supposed to have this strange thing? You could be driving a car and you're like, I wonder what it's like if I had a crash now, or on a cliff thing. I wonder what it's like to fall off a cliff. You know,
So
that's not good, man.
no, it's not,
You
man.
know,
It's totally not.
but
It's poison.
don't talk
But
about it.
when you mentioned you didn't want to be there, do you mean you didn't want to be present in the game, or you just didn't want to be alive?
No, just don't want to be alive. Like, what's the point?
Yeah,
Like, what's the
I
point? But
know.
just like, and I love football so much. Like, it takes me to the place, and I could have scored like 4 or 5 goals in the game, whatever. And you know, it's all
It'll make a
great, and
difference, right?
but if
Yeah,
people got that, it's still there.
yeah,
You know,
yeah.
and
I
that's and
know.
that's and that's when you know that
Yeah.
you know, and then in this world, who do you talk to? I mean, we're more qualified than doctors. I mean, yeah, I won't say every doctor because there's some amazing doctors out there,
Oh yeah,
but
yeah.
it's not the masses, though, is it?
No, and this is the thing I always said too. In hindsight, that Heinz pickle. That's my saying. You wouldn't take your car to a carpenter. You know what I mean? You gotta take it to a mechanic. Same thing goes. Like have somebody sitting in a seat telling you what's wrong with you, with a pen and paper, and then writing you a script with nothing but textbook material to go on.
Yeah,
Sounds
yeah,
kind of
yeah,
shady. You know,
yeah.
without the
It does
experience,
get rid
man,
of
you can't talk to somebody about that. That'd be like me trying to talk about engineering. I couldn't do it if I don't have the
it.
background, right? You know,
Yeah, yeah,
textbook
that's
isn't
it.
everything, man.
It's more of I've stepped out of that frame, you know. Like even when I wrote my book, I'm like, I'm not having an editor for my book. Like if I make a
Nice.
mistake, I make a mistake, man. Like and
Okay.
actually, I reread it. There was a couple of mistakes. I was like, oh man, I've already released it now. But
Well,
you
yeah,
know,
that's
fuck it. Like, and we need to
exactly, man.
realise that, you know, authenticity. And
Exactly, dude. That's what people want, man. Honesty, legitness. It's not a matter of, I can't even believe I just said legitness. But they don't want people, that have to proofread everything. And because we're already living in that artificial mainstream lifestyle, man. We don't want that, man. With that heart
yeah,
connection, man, right? Speaking from your heart, man, your truth. And that's cool, dude.
yeah,
All the power to you on that, man. That's awesome.
yeah.
And I tried to get a copy of your book, but I couldn't because it was a link for the States, right?
Yeah, I'm having a problem. Yeah, so I've changed my link. I've got the international link. I've done every single link.
Oh,
You know,
nice.
like, we had many technical problems, didn't
Well,
we, earlier?
yeah, dude. Trying to get this video tonight. Holy God, it was a
It took about
nightmare.
an hour.
Oh,
So yeah,
at least.
yeah.
Yeah, buddy.
I've got a new link. It's Lulu, and
Okay.
it's not it's not free because I'm trying to work out how I can do it for free. I think it's $11, but that goes straight up there. And one thing I am thinking about doing is getting my audio for the first 11 chapters, which is the first part. It's only 21,000, well,
Nice.
21,111 words. Everything's synchronized in the book.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
number count. And
You notice too, you posted something on Facebook 9/11 this morning. And dude, I've been seeing those numbers like crazy. More so, like I used to see 333, or well, yeah, 333, 222, 444, and as of late, man, it's 9/11. Obviously, twice a day, like any other numbers.
yeah,
But it's like I read into it too, and I thought, well, maybe it's just because my mind is now triggered for that and programmed that I'm going to see that and view it and just know, like a damn dog knows, it's a treat time or meal time or something like that. But it's not, man. It goes
yeah,
deeper than
power
that.
numbers.
Yeah, man. It's
Proper power
angels
numbers.
talking to you, right? Saying, hey,
Yeah,
this is
yeah,
the path that you were meant to be on. Continue on. We've got your back,
yeah.
and we're going to support you, right? So it's pretty
Yeah.
cool, and
And
it's
and
empowering.
shamefully, yeah, yeah, and it's also telling, yeah, it's exactly that. It's confirmation. It's like you're on your right path, and it's also giving you a little taste of what's to come. It's like, well, here's a little bit, here's a little bit,
That's
and you're
right.
like, what? Well, sometimes I'll be on my book, and the whole cabin just goes alive. I look at a
Nice.
photo, it tells me a message, and then my word count would be like 7,777, and then like the page would be page 99, and I'm like, boom, 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 and I'm like, whoa, and then I can feel the
That's awesome.
universe, the
Yeah.
divine's like. It's like they're just laughing. They're like,
Well,
there
yeah,
you go.
man. Right.
We're much more intelligent than you, but
That's
we're
right.
just showing you a little bit, you know?
That's right. Yeah, man. Prime example, like I mentioned with my last tea. I don't have it here with me, but I was like speaking to my wife and saying, I don't know where this will go, but if it doesn't go anywhere, who cares? At least we can have a collaborated conversation and have shits and giggles and get our thoughts out there. And when I poured that tea,
Mm.
man, the little tag said, what was it, dude? Jeez, man, I'm getting brain fog
What
here
you
now.
saying? Yeah.
Yeah, the T said something about be the light. No, be this. Fuck me, man. Something about shining the light, be the lighthouse, right? And
Oh
I
yeah.
guess, yeah, I love these, man. It's skull candy. And this one says, if you let yourself be successful, you shall be successful. That is true. Your thoughts, holy fuck, if people only realized how important and vital those are, man, whether they're negative or positive, will determine the outcome of your reality. You manifest your reality through your thinking process, man. And people think, oh, it's just a thought, but it's not, man. Like it's more power than that, right? And to ignore it is like, you might as well just slap yourself in the face, you know?
Yeah. Oh yeah, you are
Yeah,
pretty much doing that, and it's
exactly.
yeah, it is a shame, and even with these power numbers, you know, I mean the fact that so many terrorist attacks are on what certain dates, you know, that says it
Yeah,
all as well. You know, the power
yes,
numbers. This is why we need to reverse them power numbers now. You
yeah,
know, and that's why we're seeing all these things. I mean, some of my posts, sometimes I time it and sometimes I
yeah,
don't. But sometimes they'll go up on power numbers. It'll be 1111 or I don't know
yeah,
1010, whatever. You know,
exactly. Yep,
even now at times 1221. But it just happens. You know,
yeah,
everything. It's
wild.
like and what I mean is the divine is giving us a little key here. You know, it's saying, look, we're giving you all these synchronicities. You know, the stars are flashing like crazy at us sometimes, and like it's like they're like, come on, man, we're giving you everything that we can possibly do in our power because we can't get into your world because it's so programmed and it's so dark.
Yeah,
So just at least open up and see it. And so many people, you know, they're saying, oh, this mad. Like I was walking down the street and there was a number plate 22 and it was 2222 and I was like, whoa. And it's like, well, there's more to this, you know.
yeah.
Like there's so much more to it. And if people can just open a little bit, enough
Yeah,
people, that's all it takes.
it
You
does,
don't have to ignore it, you
No,
know.
and like dig a little, as you mentioned, people just look at that, go, okay, whatever, and get on with their daily business, and
Yeah, like, oh, that yeah, that was strange. Oh, that was
yeah,
weird. How many
yeah,
times are they gonna? How many times is it gonna be weird? You
yeah.
know?
Well, that's it. That's exactly what I thought initially when I started seeing like, okay, that's just random. Like, okay, no, this is happening on the daily. Come on, Matt, smarten the fuck up, man. What's going on here? You know,
Yeah,
read into this a little heavier. Look it up, man. What does it mean? And I would talk to my naturopath, and she's like, "Oh, wow, that's interesting. This correlates with this. This correlates with that. This is why you're seeing this and that." Like, okay, and dig. The answers are there in synchronicity, and all you have to do is it's like a book. Open it up and start reading it, man. Right? You just close it up. You're never gonna know yourself or the things around you. And what did you mention? It was we see 2% or 4% of our reality, and everything else is just a black. You know,
mm,
I don't even know what. Just darkness that we don't even
yeah,
understand. Right? And that's the other key
yeah. Well,
factor.
everything's unseen. If you put your finger in the air, there's gonna be dark energy touch your finger. That's how
Yep.
much the air is putrid. It's a little bit better now, but you know, it says a lot. Yeah, that's why like sometimes I can feel this all this dark stuff around me. It's like they're just dancing, you know.
Latching on to you, man. Yeah, like energy. Well, they call them vampire energies, but there's that. You know, energy that you can't see, but you definitely feel it, you know?
Yeah,
And I'm an empath and I can sense that really strong with people. I'm talking to them
yeah,
before I enter a room, like, oh shit, man, I can feel something's
yeah.
not right here, right? Or a house that's been vacant for a long time, abandoned or whatnot. Yeah, it's pretty
Yeah.
pretty wonky, but that's you know, how I can
There's a
determine
pyramid.
what's that?
Yeah, sorry.
No, I
Well,
was
there's
just
a pyramid. You know, there's obviously the hierarchy pyramid, but there's a
yeah,
pyramid of spiritual realms as well. And the seventh is the lowest, and that's the physical, and it's by far the lowest. And so that's the realm we're in.
that's
So
why
can
we
you
feel
imagine,
very
like, when we start stepping up, it's going to be pretty cool, isn't it?
Well, you know what I've noticed too, Matt? My energy levels have been starting to increase. Like today, I felt pretty damn good, man. I'm like, okay, so the ascension is happening. Uh, it's just
Yeah, by
a
the
little
hour.
more every day, right? And thank God for that,
Yeah,
man. Because,
oh, it can't give us too much. And so the solar flash has started. The
yeah,
central sun's there. Like that's why the sun's so bright now, and you can look into it without it really doing your eyes in, you know,
yeah,
because it's
exactly.
there. But it's got to be really slow,
Well,
and we've
it
got to. Well,
is
otherwise,
gradual.
um, yeah, if it's too fast, we'll just combust. We'll just
That's
go
what.
like that, you know.
'Cause I
So
noticed
yeah, I'm
last
up for
year. How was your energy last year, man? Mine was flat, dude. Totally
that.
shit. Um,
Yeah,
I'm still dealing with chemical sensitivities, and I've spoken about that on my channel too, about how to deal with it and combat that. But it's almost like my being is so natural now that the slightest scent of anything throws me away. It's wonky, and I don't really even want to label it a chemical sensitivity. Our world is polluted to the 10th degree and then some. And I've been a natural character without deodorant, sprays, everything in my house is all natural products, man, right?
yeah,
And people don't get it, man. But I'm like, I'm more in tune, I think, and the other ones that are labeled chemical sensitivity characters because we're on a different plane, and trying to get people to resonate with that is quite difficult. Just kind of laugh in your face, and it was torturous for me last year. I felt like knocking off, man, because I was like, I fucking can't deal with this. But I kept holding on, knowing there was something more in the mix for me yet. And every chapter of my life that I always felt like this could be it, man. I feel like I'm gonna die off, or I can't handle the pressures, man. Something else would come up, and I'd be like, okay, this
that's
is
what I
why,
want.
you know. So that's pretty cool, and especially with this COVID
Mm.
crap, man. I didn't see that coming
Yeah,
from miles away, and when it did, I was right on board saying, "No, this is a scamdemic, and this isn't what's really going on." And I love the video you put out, and I shared that earlier. Of course, nobody liked it or probably even paid attention to it, right? It's unfortunate. Well, it's
don't forget
true.
Facebook
Fuck,
play
it's
with
like,
our things as well. Like,
oh yeah, it's like, what's that? Oh, okay, I'll go back to dramatized rumors of town talk or something. I don't know, but
yeah. But
yeah,
that's what we've got to do because it gets in my head that too as well. I'm like, oh, I've just spent all that time doing that post and it's meaningful and it's out there, and then you don't get likes, and then but that's how they want to do it. Facebook, they're all everything's controlled, but that's the psychological, the psychopathic thing. A serial killer would wait years if as long as he knew that he could get his kill. It's the
yeah,
same as the hierarchy of this
that's true.
world. That's
That's
what they do. They weaken us, weaken us, weaken us.
Yeah,
And yeah, yeah.
they've been doing
So
a fine job
it's
of it
just
too. You know?
yeah, well, man, it's so bad. I mean, yeah, the suicide alone, and yeah, I mean, how can how can mental health concerns go up each year? I mean, how is that right? I mean, can we not? Is that not a clue? Is that not
Yeah.
like, oh, hang on, there's something wrong here, and
Yeah.
just because we can't see it, then
Yeah.
we just ignore it,
Yeah. It's
And we've all got
easier.
stories. We've all got stories of loss and trauma,
I know. Yep.
and we shouldn't have these stories. We shouldn't have stories, like my dad's died, your brother's died, and we've all got these stories, and there's so much behind it. But we shouldn't all have this in common. We should all
No.
be. It should be the absolute opposite, And I mean,
Exactly.
funerals. What? Sometimes you get a funeral for an hour, and even with COVID-19, can you even get a funeral? It's like, can you
Uh,
even hug? It's like, are you even allowed to hug your son or daughter? And then if they died, are you even allowed to say goodbye? It's like,
well,
come on, wake up, man.
that's a sad thing, man. I had my grandmother pass back in September, and the last visit I had, she was on the other side of the gate in this manner. Like they wheeled her outside in the courtyard, and I was like, okay, well, we can deal with this, but we had to wear our masks. Oh, fucking doors yet. And we're more than 6 feet. We're like 15 feet away. And I remember her saying at the end of our conversation when they were ready to wheel her in, say, okay, Polly, your time's done. And she put her arms out to my son and said, I don't care about this COVID crap, I want a hug. And I was like, damn it, man. Fuck, I wish we could just do that. And I almost felt like just breaking free from this trance that we've been placed in and bolting to her and going, fuck this, I'm embracing my grandmother. And I knew it was the last time when I walked away, and I told my wife, I was like, that's the last time we're going to see her, man. That's all she needed. And that's the biggest problem here right now is that physical connection is no longer there. So people are feeling more and more isolated. I don't know if you're a fan of Dallas Green, but he put out an album called A Pill for Loneliness. And when I heard that last year, dude, I cried, man. I was like, fuck, this guy talks, reality about feelings and being human, man. Not some drone that's been, put to the degree of whatever. But he was talking about how things are really bad. And this is before COVID, right? It's a lonely world. Everyone's depressed. And with this COVID, that just impacted, something on the masses to a level that it's
Yeah.
just not. It's not fucking cool, right? You can't even say hi to your
No,
neighbors.
horrible, isn't it?
Half the
Yeah.
people.
I know.
When you're out in a boat. Prime example. I was into Walmart the other day, and of course, going with the stupid mask. I wanted my items to be purchased without having a heckled fuss with the authorities. And I was walking it out, and I had a lady with her child. They're wearing these gloves, right? Face is all masked up, and she pulled herself and her kid away as if to say, "We can't contact with anyone because we're going to get this diddly virus." I'm going, "Fuck me, man." There's so many people doing this,
Mm.
and they're going along with it. So the more power you give to it, the stronger it's going to take hold on us all. And people don't understand it. You're breaking us. You're killing us on
Yeah.
a massive scale here, and you're okay with it, right? And when you
Yeah.
try to buck that, man, oh, I'll tell you, you get
Yeah.
some
You know,
wonky conversations and arguments with people. But
yeah. And there was like a shoot to kill policy in China again, like
uh,
over that way, over in Asia.
yeah,
Shoot to kill, man. Shoot to kill
crazy, dude.
because what? Because we're within 1.5 meters of each other. Like,
That's
and
nuts.
we're still the masses believe that this is somehow okay.
Yeah,
And like I just don't get it, man. If it was that bad, we'd be walking around with gas masks on.
exactly, man. That's what I said,
Like
man. Same shit. Like, what's a couple of layers on? Well, now they've tripled up the layers of material on your mask to prevent the COVID. CDC reports are saying that deaths aren't what they were when they tallied them up. The masks aren't, doing anything. They even say it when they're selling them in baskets in the fucking grocery stores. This mask will not prevent COVID. It should be a one-time usage only. Like blah blah blah. People just wake the fuck up, man. You almost want to slap the stupidity out of them, right? But you can't do
it's
that.
hard, isn't it?
It's frustrating, man. Oh my shit.
The
But
hardest thing is smiling, isn't it? The
yeah,
hardest thing is literally like, you do this, you try and help, you do this, and sometimes I mean, I've got spiritually attacked plenty of times. That's why I got all these on, man. Like
yeah.
obsidian, pink quartz, rose quartz, all
Like,
this stuff. I'm just like, I've gone
that's,
to
I
bed
got
with.
stuff too, right? I wear things too,
Yeah,
crystals and stuff, man, because that keeps you centered and grounded and protected. And uh,
yeah. And
that's a
it's just a
nightmare.
slap
But
in the face, isn't it? And I think the hardest thing to do is when I've been like, sometimes held down in my bed, and I've had things flying off my wall when I was coming towards the end of Heal. And I'm just like, every time I'm just like smiling. I'm just like, man, you ain't gonna touch this shit. You ain't gonna
yeah,
touch it. And you just got to do that. And
well,
if,
that's the
if
great thing,
everyone's
right?
done that,
And they can't physically harm you anyway. Those spirits, man, they'll do everything in their power to bring you down, so you don't speak to the masses about truth and the crookedness and corruption that's behind all this. But
yeah, I know. And there's so much power in it. Just to smile, man.
it
Like because it just does so much to you. Even if inside, like sometimes I'm like right, okay. I can't move from my bed. I'm being restrained by some demon, and I'm like inside. I'm like, fuck, this is a bit scary, but I'm like smiling, and it's the hardest thing.
well, it would be, and I even find that today for myself, like my smiles come and go. And I remember a time way back when, because I also believed that everything was hunky dory and gumdrops and rainbows, and you could laugh a lot more and smile a lot more. But I really think that people, without fully realizing they're in that state of mind because their soul knows better, man. That's the true awakening. When people are depressed and they get diagnosed, because that's another way to clamp you down, shut you up, suppress you, and push you off to the side so that you don't
Yeah.
spread, awareness to other people. And that's sad.
Yep.
And that's why people are committing suicide, you know?
Yep. I know it's just absolutely disgusting, isn't it?
It is.
Everything about it. Our blood. I mean, we've got like 1 to 2 strands, and we've had that for ages, and we're 12 stranded, man. Like what's going on? We've had our blood manipulated with pigs, back in the day. That's why in the if you do I think if you're like a nurse and you're going through training and you won't have to do surgery,
Yeah.
they'll get like part of a pig because it's so close to a human.
Yeah.
And there's all these things that that we don't realize because we're not willing to accept how, how warped that might sound.
Yeah,
If you think, what I mean, why are pigs so clever? It makes sense. And
so,
but we're not willing to accept these things. We're not willing to open up to the world of, is there a spiritual darkness and demons in this world? But so many people won't. They're like, no, and
exactly.
they're probably, no. We're just too busy saving up for what, a holiday, a car, the next
Yeah,
smartphone.
materialistic
No,
bullshit possessions, right? Yeah, that's the thing too. If you think about it, children are prime examples of ones being free spirited, and they say that openly and loosely. Kids are so free
they're,
spirited.
they're being
Let's
born
get
with many scams.
exactly right, and it's time after time that they slowly are programmed into what we are now, right? Adults,
Yeah,
and
or they're taken.
well, yeah, oh yeah, exactly. And this is my point, man. That if you can keep the inner child alive, your spirit's always going to be, flying around freely and okay with things, right? Um,
Mm.
you lose sight of that, and it's game over as far as I'm concerned. I've been told by a lot, like, you're like a big kid. I'm like, why shouldn't
Good.
I be?
Yeah,
You got to have that inner giddiness about you, man. Or,
yeah.
you can
That's
shackle
it.
yourself to this prison. And I
No.
refuse to. I used to chase money and stuff too back in the day, and thinking, okay, I got to do this, I got to get that. And the next thing I'll be happy. Okay, well, I got there. Well, what's the next fucking value in life to me? But no one ever reaches it. And
Yeah.
that's why billionaires are offing themselves. People always think, and Jim Carrey said it best. He said, I wish everybody had fame and fortune so that I could see how empty they still are at the end of the day, right? How true is that, man?
Mm.
It's not money. The riches of money isn't going to bring you contentment and happiness.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Togetherness.
It is right, and it's disgusting. But in due time, I think
Yeah.
all wake up together and unite,
That's
and
it.
this will be a different outcome
Yeah.
for sure. We can't keep going
Yeah.
like
I
this,
reckon
my friend.
pardon?
Oh, I said we can't keep going like this. It's too
Yeah.
detrimental to
Yeah.
everyone's
Exactly.
health. Yeah.
Yeah.
What's your
And I
take?
reckon to start with, like, if we had money, we'd need money to start with just to rebuild everything because we're so materialistically programmed.
Yeah.
But after time, we won't even need it. We'll be so happy, man. Like, just, I mean, just like the indigenous and used to do, they used to walk, like,
Exactly.
in Australia, walk across Australia, and they'd have all these homemade, items, like, I don't know, bags,
Yeah.
woven
Yeah.
items, all sorts of stuff. And then this like the main tribal man would just like walk, halfway across America,
I think about
halfway
that.
across Australia, and then
Yeah.
do trade with their, and then the whole community are like, oh
Exactly.
yeah, cool, cool, and then they do this trade and that, and it's really cool, really, isn't it?
It is. And that's the thing. I think we should resort back to that way of living and bartering systems. Hey, you got something I need. I've got something you need. I can build something that you can't, vice versa, and exchange that, right? And the other thing too is this. I don't know about you, man, but I find even having the Wi-Fi emissions coming off electronics bothers me after so long. I'll get more and more
Yeah,
docile and almost sleepy like. And the biggest thing here, man, fucking shoes, man, right? We're insulating our feet so that we're not grounded to Mother Earth. And
yeah,
they're not understanding, man. There's this white man, I can't remember his name, but he was a cable installer. And he's wondering why his computer wouldn't stay grounded, right? So he ran a line outside into the ground, straight into Earth itself, and it didn't keep shutting out on him. He's like, okay, there's something to this. He did
yeah,
studies, man. I'm gonna have to look him up. I can't believe I can't remember his name, but he's all over the place on YouTube and whatnot. He's got a pretty massive story out there to tell. But he's talking about the indigenous people, going barefoot and being grounded with earth and how it takes the inflammation out of your body. And I was
yeah,
doing it after reading his material and watching his videos, man, like 4 or 5 years ago. Just go barefoot and just, when you go to the beach, everyone goes barefoot at the beach and they're all feeling so gleeful and happy and content. And they're thinking, okay, it's just because I'm getting vitamin D from the sun, but it's not. You're grounding yourself and absorbing that energy to remove the toxic garbage from your body, right? And
yeah,
if people clued into that, hell, man, there'd be a lot more barefoot characters out there. Maybe not
yeah,
in the off season, but I've seen people doing it before. Just walking around barefoot and I'm going, well, that's strange. Before I knew anything about it, right? But
yeah. That's it. And I
yeah,
remember, especially in my recent jobs with, as an Indigenous football coach and Indigenous youth worker, that kind of role. These kids they're just running around barefoot, and they'd like literally you could throw a ball in a football in the middle of like 30 or 40 kids, and they go mad for it. They're all running around barefoot. There's no shoes. But even then, they're told to in school to wear uniform and shoes, and
yeah,
it's like
good
man,
form,
they've been
right?
here for like 110,000 years, and now you're telling them. Now you're like,
Yeah,
oh yeah, sorry, you have to wear shoes. Like, come on, man.
yeah, it's
Mad,
absurd,
isn't it?
man. You know what I mean? Buddy, it's getting to the point where
Crazy.
I don't know how people don't wake up and see that none of this makes sense, right? Um,
Yeah,
but I'm so glad
yeah,
and thankful that we have, the resources that we have to reach out to each other and, bring this conversation to the attention of others who may be kind of lurking in amongst, amidst, what am I trying to say? I'm getting tired and stupid, but just having the material out there, right? So if they are questioning things or a lot of people like to go on Google and search on their own and things that might be gnawing at them, and they don't really have the gumption to go and talk to somebody. If they see our video and they're listening and they're going, "Fuck, that resonates with me. This is how I felt for a long time, man," or "This is what I'm going through. I can relate to this." That's empowering for all of us, man. As I said before, caring is sharing, or sharing is caring. Sorry. And we
yeah,
need to do more of that, man. Take care of each other and support one
yeah,
another. The world's full of ignorance, and what I always try to say, and it's an ongoing learning practice, but not to judge others, not to be critical of others, not to be pointing fingers, man, because all it is a reflection of
yeah,
somebody that you're looking at. That's you, man. What you don't like in that individual, you do not like in yourself. And when you're aware of
yeah,
that, you shut that down and go, oh, fuck, I'm not going to be like that. I'll be nice to this individual because I want to be treated the same way, So
mm,
what you put out, you get back tenfold, whether it's ignorance or bliss. And, I think this content, hopefully, is going to be beneficial to help others too, right? So,
yeah, yeah, yeah. It's just having that little common sense, isn't it? Like even the fact that so many people are, oh, I hate vegans, and they brand people tree huggers, and people that are sticking up for our animals, animal rights. What do you? Oh God, what's it called? Like they're putting up their banners and stuff. I can't. Activists, is that
activists? Yeah, yeah,
activists? Is
yeah,
it?
activists. Yeah,
Yeah, sorry, yeah.
yeah,
That. And we're so programmed to be like, oh God, oh, they're protesting again. Oh, they're so stupid. And it's like, hang on a minute, tree huggers, like you're branding them a tree hugger, yet they love our mother, which is our earth. And if we didn't have earth, we wouldn't
yeah.
be here.
We,
And they're protesting. They're
well, that,
protesting because in mainly Asia, they're skinning dogs alive, man, and
yeah,
they're boiling dogs and cats and your pets. They're putting them in boiling water and pushing them down with like
uh,
wooden sticks, and they don't give a fuck, man. And
yeah,
then you're like, oh, they're just protesting, oh, and it's that mentality. That's the mentality that needs to stop.
that's right.
And yeah, sometimes some of my words are a bit direct, but I'm done with that now. Like
Yeah, same.
I mean, it's like the spiritual person that's all fluffy, white, love and light, and oh, and everything will be all right and all that shit. Like,
Namaste.
no, man, spiritual awakening is grabbing hold of the truth, coming out like a lion and telling them, just saying like, this is what it is, and why don't more people do it?
That's my
Yeah,
point, dude.
all this fluffy bullshit. I'm
Yeah,
fucking sick of it. Fucking sick of it. Who's that helping?
yeah, I know.
Really?
It's true.
You know
And
what I mean?
that's what I found too. That you could walk around on eggshells all day, man, but you're not hitting home with that attitude and that persona, right? You got to smash it.
Hmm.
And my family knows, and people that know me, man. Matt's face value, what he brings to the table is truth, honesty, and it comes with dignity and pride. And if you can't handle that, get the fuck out of the way for the next individual, right? And this is the thing, man. We got to be brutally honest
Yeah,
with each other, like in loving ways. But I don't want to pussyfoot around things, just as you don't, man. Beat around that bush forever. You're just wearing yourself out, and the ones that you're trying to wake
yeah,
up. You know, direct it.
Yeah,
like a
man.
fucking missile, you
And
know. But
I think one of my main ones is not is imagine dying, not speaking your truth that you've always wanted to speak. You just wanted to let it go,
yeah,
and then going to the other side and not being able to do nothing about it.
exactly, being
That
silenced.
I would not be able to handle that.
That's a good point, man. Um, I thought of that two different times, knowing that, when I was in my sick days, at any moment I felt like I could just quit. And I don't mean like I'd want to take myself out, but my body felt like it wanted to just, you know, finish with itself and say, you know what, Matt, we can't do this. All my tools are being used up. Now it's time to resign and move on. And that would be a sad thing. I never ever thought in a million years, Matt, I'd be here, with you or anyone else having podcasts, having a channel on YouTube and just speaking truth. Never in a million years. And I had people saying, takes balls. Yeah, it does. But somebody has to do it. And you can be the domino and have that domino effect. More people
Yeah,
see you doing it, they're going to want to do it and talk to other ones
yeah,
about things, man, because this is how it's going to work. I mean, especially if we're all locked in our fucking homes with the second wave coming up anyway. This is our
yeah,
go-to now to keep ourselves together, right?
yeah,
So
man. And even the sheepdog's getting bored of herding the sheep. You know what I mean? While the farmer just like what eats all the sheep. You know, it's
yeah,
like how
right.
how many how many how much more is it going to take?
Yeah,
It
exactly. But
really is, and that's what it is. Just not stopping. And I mean, a true warrior is one that they don't get the likes, they don't get this, but they just keep going and going and going, relentless.
yeah,
And at the end of the day, we're just doing what the hierarchy are doing, because the hierarchy are relentless in all sorts of psychological brutality, all kinds of ways.
yep,
They've got all angles covered,
they
and
do.
they suffocate us. So we just
Yep,
got to come out and play that kind of game. Just not stop, not stop, not stop.
that's right.
Different angles. Whatever
That's it.
comes out, whatever you think, let it go.
And that's
You
what I
know?
found too. That I always had that inner strength, and I've had other ones say that. How the fuck do you do what you do? How do you keep going and doing what you do, man? Because to me, it's like I used to say it, and I mentioned earlier in a podcast about being a different breed, right? That was the ego talking. It's like, big brow, fucking tough guy, and I pursued a lot, endured a lot, and kept going. But now it's for a different reason, right? If you think about it, man, this is all for humanity now. It's not just for me. It's for everyone,
Yeah,
us and everybody else, man. And why
yeah,
would you want to quit on your own kind? You know, to let
exactly.
the hierarchies fucking win and just drown us out like that, right? So I'm
Yeah,
glad this is happening, man. And I'd like to have steady podcast coming. Like we could probably do another one yet down the way. And
definitely.
yeah, I'd like to have more guests coming on. And I know you got your book out there, and boy, man, that's taken off like crazy. And I knew it would, man. Especially with that title, Heal. Holy shit, Matt. That's going to draw a lot of traffic, and I think a lot of people are going to value and
Yeah,
appreciate that, right? Me included, once
yeah.
you
I
get my
think
hands
I
on
think that's the other thing. Yeah, I think that's another thing on that. So someone, it's a kind of little bit of a diversion, not too bad though.
it. No, that's
But
okay.
someone said the other day, they were just they shared my post, and they said, look, this guy's literally quit his job, quit his life. He's not with his family. He's all of this stuff, and he's just given up everything for a book, and then to
Mm.
just fight for humanity. And I'm
That's
like,
right.
I didn't even think of that. And then I'm
Yeah,
like,
right.
actually, I did do that. And I'm like, yeah, that's pretty cool, man. Like,
That is,
but
dude. That's
how many
that's
people
fucking.
would have the bollocks to do it? Because
That's what
money
I'm saying,
doesn't grow
man.
on trees.
You know?
And yeah, sometimes it's like you say, just yeah. It's got to a point probably. I mean, I'm trying to do the book for free so many times, but I mean, if it's $11, it's $11,
That's
and it
peanuts,
doesn't grow on
man.
trees. And
You know what I mean?
yeah,
Like
yeah,
that's a treasure, and to pay $11. I mean, that's well, look, somebody's coffee drinks for the day or something. A pack of smokes or whatever it may be. Something that's actually going to help somebody and open up their minds to something more than what they see or hear. From the
yeah,
yeah. So
yeah. Just the fact that my emails, my emails are sometimes not sending. I'm getting, like, and my Amazon accounts being tampered with, no matter what I do.
yeah,
So even that in itself is enough to make people realise, hang on, this book might have a lot of intelligent information in it, and
that's right.
that's why they're trying to take it down. If we could just realise that, you know, because I'm not saying it's from me, because that book's not from me. I actually tapped into our collective consciousness when I wrote that book, and I'm like, man, this is mad. And
Yeah, dude.
I could feel all of the different energies in the world, and ascended masters coming through, and all this stuff. And I'm like, why wouldn't anyone want the truth? Because this world is like 99% not true.
Exactly.
And yeah, it's one of it's yeah. So yeah, that's another thing with not stopping and just getting it out there. And yeah, it's true.
Good
Exactly
on you
what you
though,
said.
right? Like I said, it takes a lot of gumption, a lot of energy just from you alone to do that. And as you said, man, to quit your job, to go to a foreign land. Well, I mean, you've been there 5 years. I mean, you're from England, right? But to hop over
Mm,
there, man, and do that, and just say, you know what? I'm gonna take the bull by the horn, so to speak, and make this work for me and for everyone else. The fucking hat goes off to you, man. You know, people should bow
yeah,
to that, and not to worship, but just
yeah,
to understand, the convictions that you had to go through to get to this fucking point, and you're still hanging on, man. And
mm,
smiling like
yeah,
that's pretty empowering, buddy. You know,
mm,
kudos to you. Very impressive,
yeah,
and. You know, I thought of it too. I was like, you know what? The fuck am I worried about materialistic gain? When your true purpose comes
yeah,
into place and you put that in order and make that your priority, everything else just
mm,
comes together anyways, right?
yeah.
We're not
And
here
I
to
just
make
put
money
my
for
hands up.
ourselves. What's that? Sorry?
I just put my hands up. I was just like, right, I
Surrender.
can't,
Yeah.
I can't focus on my three-dimensional job. You know, having the meetings, and I love teaching the indigenous kids football and going out, but I can't do the physical and then come back and spiritually channel with
Yeah.
such divine purity. And
Exactly.
I was like,
Tap
universe,
out.
please look after me. And I've been looked after with money. Yeah, it's getting a little bit tight now, but
Yeah.
I'm being looked after,
Exactly,
and
man.
it's just like wow. And then I come here and I'm in this caravan. It's like 136 Australian dollars a week. And we've got everything here, swimming pool, loads of people coming
Sweet.
up to me. They're like, if you need this, you need that, you need this. Tell
Awesome,
me, tell
dude.
me, tell me. And all
Yeah.
straight away. And even my caravan, it's number 107. And my
What?
book count from chapter 1 till the end, my chapter count was 107 words, 777. And I'm like, caravan 107 and all this stuff,
That's
it's just
awesome,
like,
dude.
wow. And every time someone comes up to me and they give me a message, I'm like, I just see through their message and I'm like, universe,
Nice.
message,
That's,
divine.
that's awesome,
So
man.
I think what I'm saying is when you surrender,
Yeah.
the universe has got your back, like
Always.
trust it.
All
You
right.
know that, but
Exactly, man.
many of
Right.
us don't.
Well, that's the thing too. You know, the more you put out there, the more you're gonna receive in that nature too. Um, you'll be taken well care of.
Mm,
I'm certain of it. And it's this stress pattern that we've been programmed to believe in. It's gonna, well, it could potentially bring you to your knees, man. But if you just keep holding in there, man, and pursuing this, dude,
yeah,
it's all gonna be good. It's gonna be fine.
yeah,
And I'm glad and appreciate the fact that I've gotten to know you, man. Right? We spoke months ago and tried to get this podcast
yeah.
going, and a lot of glitches, and even tonight, as we spoke of, a good flipping hour trying to make this working, right? But it's uh, it's a glorious time,
Yeah,
man.
they
To
don't want us
be
to speak, do they?
collaborating together for sure. All right, Matt.
Yeah.
What time do we got here? Anyway, it's almost 11 my time. Is there anything more you want to say before we wrap things up for the night, or?
No, not really. Just really message to humanity is just to go within, see where do you want your children to be? Where do you want our generations to be? And just remember some of the warriors of the world, the Native Americans. They used to look after 7 generations and pass,
Yeah,
and they used to have pride on looking after that, and that's Native Americans. Then you've got the indigenous. They were spiritually connected. They've got so much authentic knowledge that we shut off, and
I
they've been
know.
so suppressed. So when indigenous are walking around and they're alcoholics and they're shouting, there's domestic abuse, there's violence, there's all this stuff. Rather than blaming them, see the source behind it. They've been put through absolute hell,
Yeah, they have.
and that's why. And if we could see, in Africa, so many humble, wise African men, they speak the truth,
Yeah,
medicine men, all of these people. If we can just realize that we need to go back a little to then thrive, and also remember that we're having upgrades. We're just about to become not even superhuman. We're about to become human
Yeah,
because we're so weakened to be nothing.
that's
You know,
right.
we're currently on. I mean, my DNA is got a little bit higher, but we're currently like floating on what between 1 and 5 stranded DNA, if that, the top
It's
level at the
pretty
moment.
pathetic.
But you know, it's going to go to 12, and just this is we've got like another 34 days before it gets, you know,
The full
a
potential.
lot. And when I found out that the on the 21st of December, so I wrote a lot about Lumeria coming through, and I've never heard of Lumeria. I'm like, okay, and then I'll Google it. I'm like, oh, Lumeria is actually a place, and I'm
I
like,
looked into
whoa,
it
and then
too, man. Right?
it's
Yeah.
crazy, isn't it? And
Oh,
the
I had to
indigenous
look
are
it up,
getting
man.
together
Yeah.
in Uluru. Pardon?
Oh, I had to look it up too because I seen something posted there. I'm like, what is that? And couldn't find out. It's buried under sea right now, right? You know, it has been for
Yeah,
thousands
yeah,
of
man.
years.
Yeah,
And
between India, Africa, and Australia, and
yeah,
then it goes out to Hawaii. Hawaii is the last peak.
yeah,
If Hawaii wasn't there, our mother would be gone.
yeah, it's true. It's true.
Hawaii is the last breath.
Nice.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
it's mad. And then the indigenous are getting together on the 21st, and they're talking about bringing Lumeria back. And I'm like, oh man, I'm
Yeah,
like, if
dude.
that happens, if the sea starts going down in
Yeah.
Lumeria, because as soon as the sea levels go down, we're
Well,
gonna
that's it.
feel it
Exactly.
because it's called Mother Earth, not Mother Water, you know. And it's
Yeah.
like we're gonna feel it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, that's
We're covered too much now. 70% of water, and perhaps that's our problem too, because we come from Earth, and if our planet's surrounded by 70% water, we are 70% water. And that's why we think
yeah,
the way we think on top of everything else. We need to
yeah,
have a reduction in that compression of fucking
yeah,
water, because you know, too much water in the body ingestion can inflame your brain and make it swell.
yeah, man.
You know, so
Yeah,
maybe that's the
and you
problem
got
here.
the moon that sucks water, like you
Yeah,
know.
right. You know, fuck. Maybe we gotta drain ourselves and
It's
we can
set
start
up.
thinking a little
It's set up.
clearer. Yeah, but all
Yeah, it's
right.
bad,
All
isn't
right.
it? It's just
Yeah,
like
it is. It's
we're on a
pretty wild.
stage.
Yeah, buddy. So,
Yeah,
with without further ado, I'm gonna have to kick off for now. Get some rest.
yeah, man.
But it was a pleasure, Matt, having you on here, buddy. And I wanted to thank you from the bottom of my heart. True honor. And I hope this goes out to the right people, and I'm sure Cosmos is going to take it where it needs to direct the attention to people who are going to, value it most, right? And we're going to have ongoing
Yeah, man.
conversations,
Yeah,
you and I, anyways, right? And we'll have another podcast down the way and,
yeah,
give people updates and let them know what's happening. All right, buddy.
yeah,
Awesome.
man. Yeah, cheers for that. And yeah, keep doing what you're doing as well. Yeah, just keep spreading the word.
Sure.
Whatever you post, just feel free to tag me in it. I'll share it. You know, just like
Awesome.
us truth seekers need to come together. You know, like yeah, you know,
Appreciate
and
that.
just get it going.
All
Because
right.
the quicker the world wakes up, the quicker that we feel better because of
Yeah.
vibrational frequencies. You know, so
Exactly. That's right. Work is,
mm,
the collective unity is one, not, you know, separating ourselves and thinking that we have it all on our own shoulders because we don't. We can't, you know. You can't survive without the help of others anyway. We know
yeah,
this. All right, Matt. Well, I'll end
yeah,
it on
that's
that
right.
note, buddy. And we'll be talking soon. And thank you very much. All right.
Yeah, mate.
Take care.
Nice one. Thanks loads for that.
Hey, buddy.
Cheers, mate. See you later.
See you,
Cheers,
bud.
mate.